Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and today I'm going to share with you some card samples that I made using the most recent My Monthly Hero Kit from Hero Arts. We're going to be making this card together on camera today, and then at the end of the video I will be sharing several other card samples that I made using this kit, and I will also be doing a giveaway, so stay tuned to the end of the video for that. Now I know this is the Hero Arts kit, the most recent kit for My Monthly Hero Kit by Hero Arts. It came with this stamp set, which is a bunch of sort of African safari themed silhouette stamps, lots of animals and trees and such, and it also came with these coordinating dies as well as the Sunshine Fancy die. And I know that a lot of you were unable to get this kit, but I know that there are a lot of other silhouette type images on the market right now, so I'm hoping that those of you who were not able to pick up this kit might still find this video somewhat inspiring, and you may be able to use some of the tricks and tips that I show you today to create, you know, your own cards with different stamps if you weren't able to get these. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is create the inked background that you see here. And to do that, I just used two of the little ink cubes that came in the kit, this orange and this purple. So I'm going to pull some scratch paper over and take the lids off of the ink, which I just got all over my fingers, but I have a little baby wipe here to kind of clean that off so I don't smudge my paper. And now I have a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. Whenever I'm doing any kind of ink blending, whether it's with distress inks or regular dye inks like these from Hero Arts, I always like to use Bristol Smooth cardstock. It is my favorite cardstock for ink blending. It really works well. So I'm just going to take my ink blending tool, take my orange ink first, and using the scratch paper, I'm going to start off of the paper in a circular motion and work my way onto the paper in a circular motion and really get lots of pretty orange ink on this strip of cardstock. And we're going to do the orange and blend it into purple for a nice kind of neat sunset type look. And then of course our animals will also be stamped onto this panel, so we'll see a nice silhouette of the animals as well on this nice kind of sunset background. So I want to make my colors nice and bright, so I'm going to go over this orange one more time here, and then I'm going to take another ink blending tool and dip that into my purple ink, turn this around and do the same thing with the purple. And what's really great about the Bristol Smooth cardstock is it really helps you create a nice subtle blending of two different colors, even colors as you know, different in look as a purple and an orange. This cardstock really lets you create, so you don't have a harsh line. It helps you blend these colors together. So as this purple is meeting this orange, you're not going to see, by the time that I'm done, you're not going to see a harsh line. It's going to be a nice blended look. But always make sure that you start off of the cardstock on your scratch paper and work your way in. Otherwise you're going to get a blob of color and it might not come off for you. You might not be able to blend it out. The distress inks are more forgiving in that regard, especially the distress oxide inks. I find when I'm using the oxides, I just go right to the paper. I often don't even stop and, you know, work on my scratch paper. I usually just go right to the actual paper itself, because the oxides are just totally different and amazing to work with. But when I'm using regular distress inks or any dye ink, I do start off the paper first. So here's what we've created. Now these aren't oxide inks, so we don't need to do any spraying with water. We're going to go ahead now and do our stamping. And I used my MISTI to help me with this. You do not have to use a stamp positioning tool. I just found it helpful in creating my little scene here. But again, you can absolutely use acrylic blocks. You do not have to use a MISTI. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this in the MISTI, use my magnets to hold this down, and I want some grass to go right along the bottom here. So I'm going to place my grass right along the very bottom of this panel. And by the way, I cut this piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock 4 1/4, so it's going to go all the way across my top folding note card by 2 inches tall. And the way I got 2 inches is I just simply measured my stamp. I knew I wanted this tree on there. It's the tallest image I was going to use for this particular card, so I pulled out my ruler, measured that. It was a little bit smaller than 2 inches, and so that's how I got 2 inches. So I have my grass laid there. I'm going to bring the lid of my MISTI over and pick up this stamp with the lid of the MISTI. I'm now going to use, and you won't be able to see me inking up because the MISTI's so, I have the larger MISTI and it won't all fit in frame, but I'm just going to ink this with the black Hero Arts dye ink. This is a great black ink. I use it all the time for my coloring with my Zig markers. It's watercolor safe, but it's also just a nice dark black color, and I really enjoy working with it. Now you could heat emboss these images with Versamark and then sprinkle on the black embossing powder that came with your kit. But I decided not to do that for this particular card, simply because I wanted to just go a little bit quicker for the video. But as you will see with some of the cards that I show as samples at the end of the video, I do do some embossing on those, so you'll be able to see what those look like. Now, unfortunately, I had put my grass a little too low, so I'm going to try this again. I didn't get enough of it on the actual panel. So let me try this again here. We're going to ink up the grass one more time, see if we can get this right. And we're just going to stamp it down. And that is much better. So I have a baby wipe. I'm just going to clean this off. Now, as you can see, the grass does not go all the way across this panel. It's just, the stamp is just simply not long enough. So I'm going, this is why having a stamp positioning tool really helps. I'm going to stick this on, I've cleaned it with a baby wipe so there's no more ink on it, and I'm going to stick it there about where I want it to finish off this panel, and now it's going to look like one continuous strand of grass by the time that I'm done here. So let me just get it in the right spot, and then I will be taking the lid of my MISTI, picking that up, and now we just need to ink kind of the left corner here because we just have a little bit that's missing. And let's go ahead and stamp it down and see how this looks. There we go. So now we have a full grassy panel here, which looks very nice at the bottom of our little scene that we're creating. Now I'm going to turn my paper like this, and we're going to actually work on the animal part of the scene. So let me quickly clean off the grass, and now I'm going to bring over the stamp set. And for this particular card, I did some of the little lions. The female lions. So I think, let me just double check the finished card that I did. Yes. So first we have this tree, which is kind of the center of the scene. So I'm just going to kind of put it down roughly where I think it might go, and we can move this in just a moment as we get all of our stamps out. Let's see, we're going to be using this particular little lion. So she's going to go, oh, let's see, about right here ish. And like I said, we might change this around when I get all the stamps off of the stamp set. This little lion, I don't think I actually used. I used some of the babies. They're here. Here's a little baby. It's so cute. So I stuck him down here, or her. Could be a girl baby. Wants to stay on my finger. However, there we go. And now we have this little baby here, which I'm going to put, he's just shading himself under this pretty tree here. And what's great about using a stamping tool to do this is I will be able to ink all of these at one time instead of having to use various blocks. But again, you do not have to do it this way. I just kind of wanted to show you how I did this. And I did this for every card sample that I'm going to show you. And then finally, we did, where's that other stamp? This stamp set's so large, sometimes it's easy to lose your stamps you're working with. Okay, there we go. And then I did some birds. Let's do some birds. These are over here, flying. And let's move this magnet up just a bit, or over, I should say, just a bit. Whoops, whoopsie, whoopsie. And then we have another set of birds that we're going to stick down here. All right, so that looks pretty good. That's our little scene that we have created. So what I'm going to do is close the lid of my MISTI and push down to make sure the lid of the MISTI grabs all of these stamps. And then I'm going to make sure that this goes right back in the correct location. I couldn't have as many magnets as I might like because I have so many images going down. All right, so now you won't be able to see this part, but all I'm doing right now is inking up my images that are on the lid of my MISTI with that same black ink. And I'm going to stamp it down onto my inked panel here and push down. Push down really hard so that ink transfers to the paper. Voila, and now you can see we have our whole scene down. Now I want to stamp this one more time because my tree did not get as inked as I would have liked, and that's my fault. I just didn't press the ink down hard enough on the lid when I did it the first time. So let's make sure our paper's back in place here, right in that bottom left corner of the MISTI, and then we close the lid one more time and push down really hard on that tree because that's the space that was kind of missing some of the ink. And there you go. Now it's perfect. And look at that, guys. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that so pretty? Now it's gorgeous when you heat emboss. And again, I'll show you some of those samples in a moment. But I just, for this one, decided not to. And it's beautiful too with just the black ink. This black ink is so lovely that it really enables you to do dark, dark, dark. It's just, it has that emphasis, it has that pop, and I really like it. So now I have a piece of black cardstock. This just happens to be basic black from Stampin' Up. And so the next step would be to glue this down. This black piece of cardstock was cut at 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. So there's a 1/4 of an inch on the top and bottom that just kind of enhances, makes this little panel that we've made pop. So I'm going to take my adhesive, my tape runner, and I love using this dot liner as my tape runner. I used to use a big ATG gun, but mine honestly just kind of stopped working one day. So I went to Michael's with a coupon, bought another one, and it had the same problems with it. So I decided to switch, and after seeing some reviews online, decided to go ahead with this one. This is one that Jennifer McGuire, who is my stamping hero, recommended, and I absolutely am so happy with it. So there's our panel now with a little black peeking behind the top and bottom of it. And then one of the final steps would be to adhere this to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch top folding note card. Whoops, malframe, I apologize for that. And I used some foam tape for that. So let me grab my foam tape here, and I use these big ones, these big rolls here, but as you can tell, I'm almost out, so I need to order some more. So let's stick this down, and let's see, I think 3 strips should do it for us. There we go. Okay, so now we're just going to peel the tape backing off of the foam tape. And then we'll just stick this panel that we've done down onto our note card. Oh, about there. No right or wrong place to put it. I just kind of put it there so it's closer to the top than the bottom. So now we have to do our sentiment, which is very easy. I chose Hakuna Matata. So and I decided to use my MISTI again for the sentiment simply because I did all this work on, you know, inking the background and creating the scene with all the animals in the MISTI, and so I just didn't want to mess up. And sometimes when I stamp, I'm not the greatest stamper, and sometimes, you know, I won't put the ink on right, or you know, I just will stamp it crooked, or you know, what have you. So when I do a lot of work like this, I do tend to use my MISTI, but again, you absolutely don't have to. This is just what I chose to do, but by all means, please feel free to use whatever you have in your stash. So I'm just going to stick the card front down like this and stick my sentiment, let's do right about there. Make sure that it's nice and straight. Close the lid of my MISTI, pick up the sentiment. I'm going to ink it with, again, the same black ink, and then close the lid to our MISTI. And we have a lovely, lovely card. Super simple. How easy was this card to make? But really cute, and I think really someone would love to receive this in the mail. The last thing that I did, and I won't take your time to do it on the video, but let me bring back over the final card. I did some sequins. I did some orange and purple sequins to kind of match the background here. And like I said, I won't take your time to do that with the card on the video today, but that's something that you could do just to add some extra little oomph to your card if you wanted to. You could use dewdrops, you could use whatever you have, or you can leave it plain like this. This would be lovely to send to someone in the mail. So this is the first sample. Now, like I said, I did a few other card samples for you guys, so I'm going to bring those over. Here's one that I did, and I made this panel a little bit larger, and I used this tree die, which is an add-on for the kit, which is actually still available. And I used this tree die here and just simply cut the tree out of some black cardstock and adhered it to this panel and then cut off the excess on the side. I used the 2 inks that came in the kit plus a 3rd ink that came in the kit, which is a Hero Arts green ink. And then I used the big elephant from the stamp set and some sequins. So, and I also put some shimmer with my Wink of Stella glitter pen on the tree, but that's very difficult to see in the video. I also did heat emboss the grass and the elephant, and I'm trying to get that to show up. There we go. There it is. You can see it gives that shiny look. And I used the black embossing powder that came in the kit, the Hero Arts kit. This is my husband's favorite card that I did. This is, I put the Jumping for Joy sentiment on here, and I did 2 broken china and faded jeans distress oxide inking for this background, and then spritz some water on, and it gave it that really pretty distress look. And then I used some of the little antelopes as they're jumping around, and of course the tree. I also heat embossed all of these critters as well, so there you can see really good on the video what a beautiful effect that gives you. So there's that card. Here's the next card that I wanted to show you guys. This one I did a green and a I think it was, shoot, I don't remember the name of the green. This is Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide inks, and also spritzed it with water. I heat embossed all the critters in the tree. I didn't do the grass in this one because I kind of felt like the green could be the grass, and then I added some sequins and put It's Been Too Long sentiment on this one. Here's one where I used the fancy die that came in the kit, and I heat embossed this little hippo and used the coordinating die that also came in the kit to cut him out, but you can see that shimmer there from the embossing powder. And then the sentiment says, "Hippo birthday to you," very cute, and I added some sequins. All of these cards are incredibly simple, as you can see. It really takes no time at all to put this note card set together. Here's one where I simply did the person and some the warrior rather in the stamp set with some birds, and I inked the green and the purple ink from Hero Arts that came in the kit, and the sentiment says, "Be strong." Very simple card that one is. Here's one where I used some orange Distress Oxide ink and some yellow and did a lot of spritzing with water to create a really fun background. And I heat embossed my giraffe and my grass. You can see some of that shimmer there. This is the tree from that tree die again. I added some sequins, and the sentiment says, "It's been too long." So there are all the cards that I created for you guys to show you some samples here from this wonderful card kit. I do recommend that if you are liking the Hero Arts card kits, they are selling out so quickly that I do recommend that you go ahead and sign up if you want to make sure that you get one. But I'm really in love with this kit, and like I said, these cards are so super easy. You can whip these out quickly, and I could have kept going. I didn't even use all the stamps in the kit, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Now finally, I mentioned that I have a giveaway for you guys. I'm giving away these fancy dies, the grass and the tree. Remember, this tree I used on a couple of my cards. This one, for example, and I just cut the excess off, but these were add-ons to the kit. They're still available, but I'm giving one full set, never used, still in the packaging, away. All you have to do, I decided instead of this time leaving a comment on YouTube, I just have you guys go over to my blog. There's a little bit more privacy if you want to leave a question or your email so I can get in touch with you if you win or anything like that. So I will link you to my blog below in the description box of this video, and then all you will need to do is head over to this blog post, which again I will link in the description box of the video, and leave me a comment on this particular blog post, and you will be in the running to win this die set. Again, all you have to do is leave a comment. I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel or give me a thumbs up, but that's not required. All I need is a comment from you on my blog post, so I know how many people are in the running, so I can put the numbers into random.org to pick a winner. So that's all that's required to win this amazing die set. So that's it, guys. Make sure, oh, by the way, today is Monday. This will be open for a week. So by 9 p.m. next Monday, Eastern Standard Time, make sure you leave that comment, and I will pick a winner at that time. All right, guys, so that's it. Sorry this video was a little long, but I did have quite a few samples to cover here, and I did want to show that ink blending as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this. You'll give some of these techniques a try, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye-bye.